Celerity Dust is once again learning how to be human live on I nearly said stream. On YouTube. So I've been thinking about security recently. I've been thinking about what is attractive recently. What makes someone particularly attractive? And that's not necessarily me. I'm trying to get outside of myself and think of how a person, any person, might look at somebody and what are the first couple of steps to fall in love. If you're familiar with the Maslow's pyramid of needs, below upwards we have like the very bare basic minimum that you need, and then above that is another level and another level on smaller, more specific levels until it is perfect for you. Now I really doubt that we will ever go out of our way to become the top of the pyramid, the very tip of specificity. I'm not sure who out there is looking for a blue-haired twinkish individual with blonde highlights and a warm, lower but soft voice. I'm not sure who necessarily is looking for that, but before I hit that spot, I need to hit all the rest of them, right? Which leads me to, I think that the most... I'm just realizing right now, it took me 2 minutes to get to the point. The bare minimum, most attractive thing a person can have is security. I think one of the ways it comes about is security in oneself, right? I don't think anyone's going out of their way to date somebody who is half of something. I think for you to form an attraction to something or someone, they must already be somewhat developed in of themselves. They have to have their own points, their own ideology, their own needs, their own wants. Think about how you fall in love with fictional characters, right? It's not necessarily by personality, because you've only seen the way they interact with other characters. It's not purely about aesthetics, because depending on who you are, you might enjoy someone's worth aesthetics for very briefly, but not stay for them, right? Very rarely do we build a relationship entirely off of aesthetics, though the initial look does help. I think that the thing we're immediately attracted to, and when it comes to, say, fictional men or women or others, happy pride, the thing that we're attracted to when it comes to fictional individuals is that they're already fully realized. Even if shallow, we have the ability to either see a fully realized person or project a fully realized person onto that character. And it's everything we want, isn't it? It's everything we want in that fictional character. What we could possibly ever hope for is accounted for. Not because the writing is that good, but because we're able to look at that character and at least see the artifice of somebody who's got their stuff together. Or maybe wonderfully does not. Maybe semi-functionally does not have their things together, and it is compelling in that way. But overall, I think part of it is that they are a person. They are fully realized. They are whole. So that's the bare minimum. If personhood is the bare minimum, what's past that? I came into this conversation trying to think about security, right? How financial security is attractive. Emotional security is attractive. Knowing that you can put yourself in this other person emotionally and that they'll hold you is somewhat attractive. Financially, for obvious reasons given this economy, right? How about security in that, this is going to sound weird, but maybe it's that they don't need you, right? Maybe there's some part of attraction that comes from the fact that that person doesn't necessarily need you to exist, that they're a person in of themselves. It's kind of why we talk about getting hobbies, about getting and enjoying hobbies, because you don't come to the hobby for that person. You come to the hobby because you love it, and it just so happens that you and this other person share the space, and goodness, isn't it getting nice and warm? I mean, that's what it could be. And sometimes I come into these without everything put together. Sometimes I come to these with like not even an embryo of an idea, a zygote of an idea. No, I feel like it's very normative to find security attractive. And I don't mean to be mean to a great quarter of my fan base who finds my cloying and exacerbated nature endearing, but I don't think most people find those things maybe cute, but not wife material, husband material, spouse material. This is the problem. I'm trying to arrange my barometer for what is normal. I had a conversation on stream the other day about what normal is and how a lot of us who might be abnormal or not normal, atypical, we might flock towards other atypical folk, and we delude ourselves into thinking that this is normal, right? I mentioned in a previous video oh, it's interesting how mainstream anime has gotten, but I will touch grass every now and then. I will make contact with the humble normie, and I will realize how inaccurate that is. There's more visibility of anime. You might be made fun of less, or might be made fun of more accurately, which I think in and of itself is a kind of boon, right? It's one thing to be made fun of for something that they don't understand, but it's another thing to be made fun of because they also kind of get it. Like, they're not making fun of you because you watch anime. They're making fun of you because Deku is a milquetoast protagonist. And I think that's kind of funny. I think the idea of anime jocks is a bit funny now that I think about it. But ultimately, aside of internet people, there are people who exist solely and completely outside of it. And these normal people live completely different worlds than we do. I say we. I like to think of this as we. Ding ding ding, 10 minutes.